Hello, in this video I'm going to be sharing with you how to make this underbust ruched shoulder wrap gown with gathers. So if this is something you like, please don't forget to hit on the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up. So let's dive right into today's video. So to start, here is my pattern paper and I've gone ahead to mark my basic measurements I need for this pattern. And the first is my shoulder to bust line, shoulder to under bust line, shoulder to waistline. So my shoulder to bust is 9 inches, my shoulder to under bust is 12 inches, and my shoulder to waistline is 17 inches. Now I'll be marking my shoulder divided by 2 plus half. My shoulder is 14 inches, divided by 2 I have 7 and I added half inch. So from there I went down by 1 inch to mark my shoulder slope, and I will go ahead to connect this all the way to the upper part of my shoulder this way. So the next step is to find your chest line, which is also your armhole, and to get that is your bust circumference divided by 6 plus 1.5. Mine is 7 inches, and I'll go ahead to draw a straight line at that point. Next, you want to go back and mark what you have on the shoulder, which is your shoulder divided by 2 plus half, and I'll place my ruler and connect, drawing out a straight line. After I'm done doing this, I'm going to go ahead mark the Basque waistline of this dress, which is not so deep. So I'll be using 4 inches after my waistline, and I'll go ahead to also mark this. So do not use anything more than 4 inches. 3.5 or 4 inches is okay for the basque we have on this dress. So I'll just go ahead and rule out a line at that point. So now I'll start inserting my measurement. For the upper part of my pattern, I did not use a dart because we are actually going to create a gathers at that point. What I did was to mark my dart starting from the under bust point, which is my nipple to nipple divided by 2. My nipple to nipple is 7 inches divided by 2. I have 3.5 inches. I'll go ahead to mark it at the under bust, at the waist, and also at the basque length. After I'm done doing that, I'll just go ahead and draw out a straight line all the way to the basque of the dress. So instead of using the normal dart, I'll be using half inch on both sides because we don't really need the dart, and it's not like we are really contouring the under part of this dress, because at the upper part we are not making use of a dart because we have like a gathered or ruched effect at the shoulder. So I'll just go ahead and mark and connect all this all the way to the basque length. So after I'm done marking this, I'll go ahead to insert my body measurement. At the bust line or at the chest line, I'll mark my bust circumference divided by 4, which is 33 divided by 4. I have 8.3, and I'll be adding my sewing allowance of 1.5 inches. So here I'll mark my underbust divided by 4. So this dart intake we have here, which is half inch on both sides plus 1.5 inches. So I'll go ahead to mark. So instead of marking the complete 1.5 there, I ended up marking 2 inches because I want to tighten the underbust because of the gathers effect at the upper part of the dress. So here I'll go ahead to mark my waist circumference divided by 4, measure the dart intake just like we did, and I'll go ahead to add extra 1.5 inches to this part. So after this, I'll just go ahead and connect my lines all the way to the upper part, and I'll also reconnect from the bust or from the under bust to the bust area of my pattern this way. So after I'm done connecting this, I'll just go ahead to cut out the under bust. That is when we are cutting this out, but I'm going to make a mark there to indicate that we are going to actually cut out that part. So now coming to the lower part of this dress, I'm going to go ahead to draw out the basque, and when I'm outlining this, I will go in by 1.5 inches or 2 inches. That is after my sewing allowance. Now I'll go ahead to blend in my darts because you will not be using these darts. You will not be needing these darts when you're actually sewing this pattern because you'll be cutting it as one piece. Now I'll place my ruler and I'm going to connect this all the way to the Basque line. So this is what I have for this pattern right now, and I'll just go ahead to outline my darts just to indicate that I have a dart line there, but I'll be blending it out also. So now at this point, I'll mark my neckline of 3 inches at this point, and I will be extending this all the way to the underbust. But I mistakenly connected it to my bust line, but I'll go ahead to extend it back to my underbust of the dress because the wrap effect started at the underbust. And also, if you notice at this front part, we don't have any extra pattern paper in front to create a wrap, so we'll actually be doing that when we are cutting out this dress. So for this part, I'll just create like a slight curve at the armhole, because looking at the dress, you notice that the side of the bust was also stitched. In some wrap dress, you just have to drape the sleeve of the dress or the shoulder of the dress. So I'll go ahead to cut this out, and I'll be transferring all this pattern to another pattern paper. So after this, I'll place my ruler and I'll go ahead to extend this all the way to the under bust of the dress, because that is where the wrap started, and I was actually supposed to extend it, but I made a mistake, and this is me correcting it. So I'll just go ahead to draw this all the way to the under bust. So after this, I'll go ahead to cut out my pattern. So at this point, if you haven't yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, please don't forget to hit on the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and if you also have any question regarding this pattern drafting, please also leave your comment at the comment section. And also, you can follow me on my second YouTube channel, which is Draft with Maki. There I do drafting illustration or pattern drafting. So I'll just go ahead and I will cut out the under bust of this dress and then blend my darts, because I don't want to cut it out, or you can just cut it out and also place it as one piece. So there's no need sewing your darts, you're just going to go ahead to blend it up. So now we're going to work on this upper part, and here is another pattern paper. So first, we are going to be creating the wrap effect we have in front of this dress. So I'll be adding like extra 3 inches for the wrap, and I'll go ahead to draw a straight line. So another measurement you need is your shoulder to under bust. My shoulder to under bust is 12 inches. But before marking that, I'll go ahead to pin this pattern paper on the first pattern paper, which is the front pattern, and I'll use it to extend the neckline of this dress. So from the initial neckline, I'll extend it all the way to the lower part of the 3 inches extra we marked in front of the pattern, and I'll draw out a straight line at this point. So after I'm done doing that, I'll just go ahead to unpin this pattern. After unpinning it, I'm going to go ahead to use my marker to draw this out to make it more visible for you to see. So now you can, if you notice at the armhole side is shorter because we have a shoulder slope, and in front is the actual length. So now on the new back pattern, you're also going to do that. Also going to mark a shoulder slope. So you want to place your tape and mark the length you're going to use. What I'm using is 15 inches. So how to get that is to measure from your neckline to where you want the sleeve to end. And you also know that you can make the shoulder ruche, or you can also leave it that way. So go ahead to measure yours. For me, I'm using 15 inches. And at that 15 inches point, I'll go ahead to draw a shoulder slope or shoulder slant at this point, and I'll go ahead to draw out. So the next step you want to take is now to place your tape, and you're going to mark your shoulder to under bust, and you're going to go ahead to mark this all the way to the front part of your pattern. Place your ruler and draw out a straight line to that point. So after you're done drawing this, you're going to be drawing like a armhole curve on this. But first, I'll go ahead and mark that same 15 inches, and I'll go ahead to draw a straight line. So when I was drawing the upper part, I exceeded that 15 inches because it's supposed to start from this border line that we marked 3 inches. So I exceeded that, and I went ahead to reconnect it. So now I'll place this armhole at this part, because the dress at the end has like an armhole. I'll just follow this curve I have here, and I'll just extend it to the tip. After marking that, I'll go ahead to extend it very well or mark it out very well, and I will be cutting this. So at this armhole, you can decide to go up a bit by 1 inch if you don't want the armhole area to be revealing, or you can just leave it that way. So this is what I'll be using to cut out the front pattern. And also when I'm cutting out the back pattern, I'll use this same piece, but the only difference is that I'll be folding it in, because at the back pattern there is no zipper allowance at the upper part. So I'll just go ahead to label this just to indicate that this is the old front, we will not be needing this again, and this is the new front, and we'll also be using it to cut out the back. So I'll just go ahead and I will cut this out. So at this point, if you haven't yet still subscribed to this channel, please don't forget to hit on the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and if also you're a returning subscriber, thank you for always supporting this channel. So after cutting out that part, I'll go ahead to cut out this front part of the dress. So to use this to cut the back pattern, all I'm going to do now is just to fold this in, this part in this way, and I'll use it to cut out the back pattern, and this will start from the neckline of the dress so that it will match what we have in front. For the back pattern, I will go ahead to use the front pattern also. The only difference is that I will be adding a zipper allowance of 1.5 inches in front. And after that, I'll just go ahead to place this pattern on it, but I'll draw out a straight line. So the zipper allowance is between 1.5 inches to 2 inches. So you can use any of this. And after this, I'll just go ahead to take this and place it on the back. So if you want yours to be a bit higher at the center part, that is the part going to the zipper, you can extend it all the way up, but I'm just going to leave this way. Then at the zipper line, I'll cut it straight and then follow the basque effect we have and trace out the rest of the pattern. So now this is my front and my back pattern for the back, as simple as that. And with this, we have come to the end of today's tutorial. See you in the sewing video. Thanks.